Okay, so you're thinking about a trip to London.
Sounds exciting.
It is.
Uh,
And specifically, it sounds like you're really wanting to see Westminster Abbey.
a classic.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to see it? It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's more than just a pretty building. It's really a kind of a living piece of history.
That's exactly how this newsletter, Love to Visit London,
Huh.
puts it. So we're going to be deep diving into that today. And this newsletter mentions that it goes all the way back to 960 AD.
Wow. Yeah, that's even older than some countries.
I know. I mean, can you imagine everything it's seen?
Mm.
William the Conqueror, Henry VIII, all of them.
Yeah, it's the coronation church for every English monarch since 1066.
Wow. And over 3,000 people from British history are buried there.
Crazy. Right.
Yeah. And it's not all kings and queens, is it?
Oh, definitely not. No. You've got poets, scientists, politicians.
The newsletter mentions some, well, less than savory characters, too. So it's not just a monument to the good guys.
Right. For instance, the poet Ben Jonson, he was actually buried standing up because they ran out of room.
No way.
Yeah. And then there's Queen Elizabeth I's monument, which very deliberately leaves out any mention of her half-sister, Queen Mary.
Oh, the drama.
Right. History's full of it.
It's true. It really makes you think about all the stories those wolves could tell if they could talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of stories, this newsletter also highlights the top 10 places to visit in Tower Hamlets. Have you ever been?
I have, yeah. It's such a vibrant part of London.
The newsletter describes it as vibrant and diverse, with everything from, like, historic landmarks to, like, trendy cafes and art.
Yeah, and it's right on the Thames in East London.
Right, so it must have a lot of, like, maritime history, too.
Oh, absolutely. It was a major hub for trade and shipbuilding for centuries. And today, you can still see that history in the old docks and warehouses, but then it's mixed with these cool modern developments. It's a really interesting contrast.
I was going to say, the newsletter specifically mentions Shoreditch and Wapping. So Shoreditch sounds more like the trendy area, lots of art and cafes.
Yeah, exactly. Shoreditch is like, if you want to see what's cutting edge in London, that's where you go. Street art, independent boutiques, galleries, you name it.
And Wapping?
Wapping is more historic, cobblestone streets, old pubs. You can really feel the history there.
So different vibes, but both in the same borough.
Yeah, Tower Hamlets is full of surprises.
I like it. Okay, so the newsletter has a whole section called Around the Web, and it basically lists all these other cool spots you should check out.
It's a great resource, yeah.
So the first one is the Brunel Museum. And get this, they're opening a Thames tunnel shaft to the public for the first time in 150 years.
Oh, wow, that's a big deal. The Thames Tunnel was a groundbreaking feat of engineering.
I was going to say, like, how did they even do that back then?
It was the world's first underwater tunnel built beneath a navigable river thanks to Isambard Kingdom Brunel. He was a genius.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
What an accomplishment. Okay, what else is on this list?
Well, there's the Churchill War Rooms.
Oh, yeah, the newsletter mentioned those. It must be wild to go down there and see where they basically ran World War II from.
Right. Those rooms are frozen in time. It's like stepping back into that era.
And they're right under the city.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about.
Yeah, London's got so many layers like that. Ancient history, wartime secrets, it's all there.
Okay, this next one sounds pretty cool. Clays. They call it competitive socializing.
Oh yeah, clays. It's like high-tech shooting games.
Interesting.
Yeah, very social, lots of fun, good for groups.
Okay, next up is St. James's Park, which I have to say sounds a little more my speed.
The peace and quiet.
Well, that and the royal connection. It's surrounded by palaces, right?
It is, yeah. And there's a long tradition of pelicans living in the park.
What?
Yeah. They were a gift from a Russian ambassador back in the 17th century.
Wow, that's a story for another time. Okay, let's keep going. We've got the Roman Baths Museum.
Ah, yes. Another must-see for history buffs.
2,000 years of history, they say.
Amazing, isn't it? To think that those baths were in use when London was still a Roman settlement.
That blows my mind.
And what's even cooler is that they're still finding new things there. They recently unearthed a whole section of a Roman house.
Wow. It makes you wonder what else is down there.
It's like a giant puzzle, constantly being pieced together.
Okay, and last but not least, the newsletter highlights all the royal palaces, castles, and residences you can visit in the UK. Talk about a royal overload.
It's a lot to take in, that's for sure.
Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, Kensington Palace.
And each one has its own unique story to tell.
This newsletter is really doing a great job of showing how much there is to see and do in London. It's not just about the big name attractions.
Exactly. It's about those hidden gems, those little details that make a place special.
I'm learning so much already. Okay, so let's see what else this Love to Visit London newsletter has in store for us.
I'm ready for more. Okay, you ready for more London?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
What else have you got?
Let's see. Okay, this is kind of fun. The From Social Media section features St. Pancras International Station.
The train station. Okay. I guess could be pretty.
Oh, but it's more than just a train station. It's a masterpiece.
Really?
Yeah. It's Victorian Gothic architecture. I mean, those arches, the details. It's breathtaking.
I mean, I've seen pictures, but I guess I never really thought of it as a must-see.
Oh, you should definitely put it on your list.
Okay, I will. What's next?
Well, this is a little unexpected. The Yum section features a recipe.
For what? Like fish and chips?
Yorkshire puddings.
In a travel newsletter? Okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
It is. It's like, they're saying don't just see the sights, taste the culture too.
Makes sense. And Yorkshire puddings, I mean, those are so British.
Exactly. It's all part of the experience.
Okay, so we've got history, we've got art, we've got food. What else could there be?
Well, there's one more section called Extra,
Extra, huh?
and it focuses on, you guessed it, Westminster Abbey.
Back to where we started.
Full circle. It's like now that we've got you excited about London, let's really delve into this historical gem.
Okay, I'm ready. Give me all the details.
Okay, so one thing the newsletter highlights is the chapter house.
The chapter house.
Yeah. Have you heard of it?
Can't say I have.
It's this beautiful octagonal room, amazing ceilings, stained glass, and it was originally the meeting place for the monks who lived at the abbey.
Wow, so it goes way back.
Oh, yeah. And later on, it was actually used as a meeting place for Parliament.
So it's like religious history and political history all in one place.
Exactly. Pretty amazing, right?
Totally. Okay, what else?
The newsletter also talks about the coronation chair.
The chair.
Yeah, the one they use for, well, coronations. Almost every monarch since 1308 has been crowned in that chair.
That's incredible. I mean, it's like a direct link to the past.
It is. It's a symbol of continuity, like history still happening, still unfolding.
This newsletter has really changed how I think about Westminster Abbey.
In what way?
I mean, I knew it was important, but now I see it as more than just a building. It's like a container for all these memories, all these stories.
It's true. It's witnessed so much of English history.
I'm so glad we deep dived into this newsletter.
Me too. It's full of such great information.
Okay, so before we officially wrap up, I have a question for our listener. Okay, so think about everything we've talked about today, all these amazing places. If you could only pick one from this newsletter to visit, which would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is, right?
So many great choices.
I know.
Let me think. I think for me, it would have to be St. James's Park.
Really? Why that one?
It's like right in the heart of London. You've got the palaces, the history, but it's also so peaceful.
Right,
Or-
right. Like a little oasis.
Exactly. You can
Uh.
just imagine all the people who have walked through that park over the centuries, kings and queens, politicians, ordinary Londoners.
And pelicans.
Oh, yeah, can't forget the
That's
pelicans.
such a weird, random little detail.
It's those little details that make a place special,
Yeah,
right?
it's true. For me, I think I'd still go with the Brunel Museum.
Oh, that's a great choice, too.
There's something about those underground spaces,
Yeah.
The engineering, the history.
Hmm.
It's like stepping back in time.
And it's a reminder that there's so much more to London than what you see on the surface.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've done a pretty good job of deep diving into this Love to Visit London newsletter.
We have so much great information.
And I know, I feel like I could plan a whole trip based on this.
Me too. And remember, they do have that premium subscription option.
Right, for even more London goodness.
Yeah, if you're really serious about planning the ultimate trip.
But even with just this free newsletter, I think we've got a great starting point.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really all about inspiring you to explore, right?
Totally. So whether you're dreaming of Westminster Abbey, or those trendy Shoreditch cafes, or maybe even a pelican encounter in St. James's Park.
Or a subterranean venture in the Thames Tunnel.
Yes, there's something for everyone in London. And we've got all the links in the show notes, so be sure to check those out.
And most importantly, have fun planning your trip.
Yes, happy travels, everyone. And let us know what you decide to see. We always love hearing from our listeners.
Until next time.